Oh, hi there. My name is David Gelb. I'm the creator of Chef's Table on Netflix and the director of Jiro Dreams of Sushi. And I've spent my career telling the stories of great chefs and not only how they cook, but why they cook. We wanted to create this podcast because we want to expand the conversations that we're having, not only with chefs like Evan Funke, who you will be talking to today, but artists and writers and actors, musicians, any creative person that loves to eat or has been affected by food or has even just had a meal that's changed their lives. These are the stories that we're excited to tell. So welcome to Chef's Table Talks.
I'm going to make pizza and pasta, and I'm going to build a team, because one of the most rewarding things to me is taking a group of people with varying skill sets from different backgrounds and building them into a cohesive unit that moves and communicates effectively. That is one of the most beautiful things to see. And then, you get to make pasta by hand, and that's a thing.
Sticks. Oh, we should have brought I have an Obi-Wan Kenobi clapper. I did the behind the scenes of the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie for a day.
That's groovy.
With filmed Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen coming together. Ewan.
It's my name. Evan. It's Welsh. Ewan.
Wow, people don't know that.
No, I don't tell many people that.
Evan Funke. We are here today to clarify the pronunciation of your name. Evan Funke.
Evan Funke.
So first off, we are featuring our Mother Wolf Chef's Table collab mugs.
Hey, it's me.
And there's our guy.
This was a great dinner, by the way.
It was. That was a lot of fun. It was the Chef's Table Diner at Art Basel in Miami. And Evan, you cooked up some tasty, good-timey, casual bites for a diner full of art lovers.
Americana. Big beef ravioli, if you will.
That's right.
It was cool.
You brought the America and the Italy together, as you do.
Gently so.
Gently so. And with full integrity and authenticity, of course. So Evan, people watched you on our Chef's Table Noodles program. And so, and if you haven't, please go ahead and watch it. It's on Netflix. So what I want to do today is kind of get some of that bonus content, some of those other fun stories that didn't quite make the cut in our very serious and emotional and at times funny biography.
At times, yeah.
I've always enjoyed interviewing you. Brian McGinn worked with you on that episode and did a beautiful job. I got to interview you for the Wolfgang Puck documentary, however.
That's right.
And we filmed a really great interview at Felix. And there were all kinds of stories I wanted to put in that, but they really had nothing to do with Wolfgang Puck at a certain point. And then we were like, we have to get Evans.
It was more about Spago.
We need to get Evan's story going. And we did. So let's just go ahead now and talk about working in California at the most famous restaurant in the world, I think, at a certain point. Would you agree with that?
That's an arguable point, I think.
Not everybody knows that Evan worked as in the kitchen of Wolfgang Puck.
At Spago Beverly Hills.
At Spago Beverly Hills. What was that like? Lead with a compliment, and then we can get into the real shit.
Wow.
And we love Wolfgang, friend of the pod.
We love Wolf. I think my time with the Wolfgang Puck organization provided me with a substantial foundation to do what I do today. At the time, I think that restaurant has produced some of the greatest cooks that California has ever seen. And when I was there, I worked for Wolf from 2000 to 06. 18 months of that at the very beginning were at his catering kitchen, which is a whole other slew of incredibly crazy stories. But 4 years dedicated to Spago Beverly Hills. And, my first job there was kitchen bitch. And I would hunt and gather. I would set up the line. I would fill, 9 pans, third pans, 6 pans, and, with lettuces and garnish. I did knife work. And my job on the line when I first started was literally to toast brioche for the foie gras plate and heat up garnish for the next cook over to plate soup.
Nice.
That was my first job.
Wait, sorry. So toasting?
Toasting,
And you said warming the plates?
and warming plates and like warming garnish for
That's
the next
great.
cook to plate the soup.
Wow.
And then eventually over the years worked my way up. This is garde manger, and I literally worked garde manger in Spago for the better part of 4 years.
For 4 years.
For 4 years, dedicated to a single station.
And what had you done before that?
I was in culinary school.
Right. And we learn about that in the episode.
Yeah.
Take me into this kitchen. You're heating up the plates.
So my first day was the last day of this guy who was training me. And he had some odd obsession with Mary Poppins and Red Bull for some reason. And
Is Red Bull a euphemism?
no,
Or it's actually Red Bull?
He was actually Red Bull. Back then, I think it had ephedrine in it. But he was this crazy person. And he essentially said, pillage and steal and be a pirate. Otherwise, you are going to drown. He kind of showed me the ins and outs of this very intense kitchen. When I say intense, intensity today means a very different thing than intensity back then.
And what year are we talking about?
This is 2002.
Okay, so in 2002, you were told by your direct superior to
Hunt, steal, pillage, or you will die.
just in this kitchen, not in life.
Just in this kitchen.
In this kitchen.
In this kitchen.
Okay.
Because the mise en place for this garde manger station had 5 cooks on it. So when I left my last day there were 181 mise en place items. And that's a lot for a single station.
Sure.
And it employed 5 separate cooks. And it was just a massive station. And my job was to hunt and gather everything, all the ingredients, the squeeze bottles, the 9 pans, everything you would need to actually set up the station.
Got it. And you would have to, there were resources, like there were just things around.
Very minimal resources.
And you had to just make sure that you had what you needed.
Correct.
To achieve.
Regardless of anyone else.
So you would just grab stuff from other stations.
Hide it.
And then whoever has to go to the boss and ask for a new thing, like let them take
no
that.
new things.
Okay, go on. So it's a land of scarcity.
Correct.
And fear.
So, yes.
What were you all afraid of? Like, why couldn't we ask for more stuff?
Disappointing Lee.
Lee is the king. So
Wolfgang was somewhat of an absentee landlord. He would come in and we go, "What's to eat? I'm hungry." And he would go around and shake hands and kiss babies and, eat ice cream and slice off, a piece of the côte de boeuf that had been resting for 40 minutes going out to a table.
Yep.
But Lee was the spiritual taskmaster of that kitchen, and his reputation preceded him. And he was the guru. He was the demigod.
So he was the hand of the king, we can say.
100%. And I think Lee is one of the greatest chefs to ever cook in the United States, and he's an unsung hero. Incredibly talented, a palate like you've never seen before. And it was fear of disappointing him, fear of failure, fear of not doing it right, fear of not going fast enough. And this is 2002. So what was acceptable then is no longer acceptable now, not by any means. And I'm talking about physical, emotional, and mental abuse, like full stop. The worst episode of The Bear is like a Tuesday evening at Spago in 2002 through 2006. Like, no bullshit. This was fine dining restaurant, 550 covers with 60 plus tasting menus. And off of my station, the first 9 things that you would eat would come off of the garde manger.
And everybody's getting it up. So every person that sits down
is getting those 9 things, amuse-bouche.
So it puts you in the line of fire.
Oh, yeah. But eventually I'd worked myself up to a level of confidence and execution because I was surrounded by excellence. I was drowning in excellence around me when I knew nothing. And it showed me how to quantify speed, efficiency of time, space, and movement. That's how you quantify speed. And that kitchen taught me the fundamentals of at least the mechanism of how a kitchen runs. I run kitchens very, very different, as far as mentorship and compassion, emotion, things of that nature, because it's just a very different industry now. But back then, you pushed, or you either put out or get out.
You brought on the commitment to excellence, the use of efficiency, the understanding of space, efficiency, and speed, but somehow you stopped the cycle of abuse.
Yeah, because I'm a sensitive person, and I figured out not shortly after that, but I figured out you get so much more out of people when you lead with compassion and understanding, and things like that, versus fear and intimidation.
I agree with
that lasts for a while, but it does not build any kind of camaraderie. It does not build a path forward in any healthy way. So I knew when I took over my first kitchen, I had to relearn a lot of things. I really did.
Would the bad habits seep in?
I was a animal at Rustic Canyon. I was an absolute animal. I would throw things.
Because that's just the way it was. That's what you knew.
That's what I knew.
And it's that you didn't know about the compassion part yet.
No, I had to learn it. I had to teach it. And honestly, Italy taught me that. Alessandro's taught me that. Yeah. And then, there are mentors that teach you things that aren't necessarily helpful sometimes. There are situations where you learn about yourself, and you learn what not to do. And sometimes that's more important than learning what to do.
Absolutely. Let's go back into that kitchen. So you're a sensitive guy. You're eager to please. You want them to like you. You want to be.
Yes.
So how did you learn it? And what was the personal and physical cost to you?
Well,
this is the Spago kitchen. We're taking you back to the Spago kitchen.
I'm
How old are you?
An expert observer. I'm probably 25, 26, something like that.
Okay.
But I learned by watching.
Got it.
And eventually I got good enough that whenever there was a VIP in the house, Lee would grab me because my knife was exceptional. He understood that I had the fear, and he knew that I could execute. So a lot of the times we were side by side with when Ruth was in the house, or Irene Verbila was in the house, or Bill Clinton was in the house.
Even though you were younger and there are other people who had been there for longer than you.
Yeah.
Did that make you a target of some of the other chefs?
No, I don't think it was that. I think that there was so much competition. I was just a part of the competition.
Right. So nobody held it against you?
I don't think so. I think that they pushed me harder than they pushed a lot of other people. But honestly, when it was my time to, get promoted to sous chef, I got passed over because they understood. Lee, I think, saw that I wanted to write my own music, so to speak.
Oh, wow.
He knew that I wasn't going to be a lifer. He knew that I was going to go and do other things. So I got passed up, and they promoted somebody else above me. And I eventually got my buttons. I remember, honestly, I remember the day I became a chef. I went from being a cook to being a chef.
At Spago?
At Spago.
But you had already been passed over?
I had already been passed over. And I think it was a few weeks after that I made my buttons, so to speak. But it was Friday or Saturday night, 550 covers, just absolute balls to the wall, super, super, super busy, 50, 60 tasting menus. And I was on Expo, on the Garde Manger Expo, expedite to the 5 cooks that you would have. And as Expo, you run your own tickets, you call the shots with the food that's coming up. And on top of that, you cook foie gras, you make sushi, you have your own dishes to execute. And I took the whole restaurant in a nosedive, crashed and burned.
Oh my God.
Because I had such tunnel vision. I was so focused on what I had to do. I was not looking out for the rest of my team.
Okay, so you get your button, you're running,
So,
and and
so
your
I
role is
I
sous.
take the restaurant down in flames. We're so behind. I can't read tickets. It's like it looks like a foreign language, and I just cannot. I can't dig myself out of the shit. And every single sous chef came to bail us out. There was like 10 people on the station trying to get us out of the shit
Sous chefs
from other stations
Okay, got
came
it.
to dig me out.
Got it.
And after service, the chef de cuisine, Thomas Boyce, and Lee pulled me into the dry storage and shut the door and literally verbally eviscerated me. They just laid into me and essentially told me that a restaurant, a team is bigger than one person. And in order to become a leader, you have to be selfless. If you're going to lead, people don't work for you, you work for them. You have to be of service to your team. And that day, I became a chef. It was a mental switch. And I dedicated myself to becoming a better leader. Not a better cook, but a better leader, a better teammate, to be of service to the overall organism, to be selfless in its overall success.
Right.
Holistically.
Right.
And that was a fundamental change in everything I did thereafter. And I think I probably stayed maybe like 6 or 8 months after that.
That's the difference between being a cook and a chef, is the leadership.
100%. 100%. It's a technical ability, absolutely. But the soft skills, the patience, the ability to listen and comprehend and provide feedback and criticism, and also receive feedback and criticism. That is the difference. It's the organizational skills. Yeah. It's the critical thinking skills. It's the proactiveness. It's the reactiveness. This is an industry where you have to be reactive and proactive at the same time. You have to be unwavering and committed to your overall standards, but be 100% flexible at all times. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of businesses where you, maybe the...
Like filmmaking,
right? There's a lot of correlation there, but those skills have to be built. And you have to provide people a safe space, not a soft space, mind you, but a safe space to fail.
Yes.
Because without failure, you cannot build confidence.
Right.
You cannot build consistency. They go hand in hand. So if you have fear of failure, then how can you become good at something?
Right. And it causes the organization to collapse because they're more afraid of getting in trouble than they are with solving the problem.
I use failure as a weapon, as a tool, my sharpest tool.
As your tool to do better.
Not just better in life, but better at pasta making. Pasta making, much like any skill, is based on failure and how you assess the failure. Mm-hmm. And how you assess the wins. The victory must be studied in the same manner as a failure. When you fail, you feel it viscerally. How did I get to this point? What happened? Versus when you win, you're like, yeah, what's next? You don't study the win. I want to study wins in the same way we study failure so that I could duplicate the victory.
Right, because the postmortem has to happen both times.
Both times.
To see what's worked and then what didn't work. In the evisceration in the closet, there's a choice that you're making. They're basically giving you a choice. They're going to take you down here, and you are going to decide if you're going to quit or are you going to rise to the challenge. The way that they handle what you described as an evisceration, you didn't bleed out, though. Like, what was it that kept you going? And did you learn from that, or an even better way for when you have to take people into the woodshed, so to speak, to have a conversation? How do you get the outcome that you want? The outcome that you want is for them to do better, right? Otherwise, you would just fire them. So how do you do that? How do you tell somebody to do better in a way that doesn't destroy them?
Constant daily improvement. When you see something, you have to say something.
Right. So you give them the feedback when it's good.
In the moment.
Yeah.
Whether good or bad. How you... Criticism and feedback are the same thing. It's all about how you process it. And feedback is necessary. It's never comfortable. But it's necessary in order for people to grow.
Yeah.
I think why I rose to the occasion was out of pure embarrassment.
Shame.
I had let the entire team down. And I was cocky. I was full on, totally cocky. I was super chingon.
And you asked them to, you were expecting them to give this to you
I
a
was
while
like,
ago.
"Where
And you're
are
like,
my
where are my
buttons?
buttons?
Why'd
Why'd you give that guy his button?
And I was pissed that I had been, passed over. I was
Right.
like, what the I'm the greatest that ever lived.
Yeah.
I'm the greatest thing that ever came into this kitchen.
Yeah.
And then,
Then you're in the field and you're like, whoa, this is different.
so I knew then that I understood that I had weaknesses,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very necessary. It was very necessary. So I went into a very reflective state, and I came back as hard as I possibly could, which drove me into the ground.
To prove yourself, you went there and you sacrificed every ounce of energy and humanity that you had to do this job better than
Physically,
anybody could.
mentally, and emotionally.
So what happened?
First of all, everybody wore this certain type of clog. It was a wooden-based clog, Clogmaster. They're no longer in business. Great shoes for certain people. But I weighed like 300 pounds. So I was in these shoes, and I started to develop varicose veins in my calves. And one night, again, Friday, Saturday night, full bore, I feel my sock is wet. What the I step in something. So I pull my pant leg up to check it out, and one of my veins had ruptured, and it was projectile shooting with my heartbeat. Blood out of my calf.
Like in a Sam Raimi horror movie.
Exactly.
It's just like,
so I say, off the line.
and you're the leader.
I am the leader, and I'm trailing blood all the way to the office. Ari Rosenson sees me. He was I think he was executive sous chef at the moment. He's still at Spago.
Yeah, I just saw him the other night.
He's been at Spago since he was 15 years old.
Incredible.
He gets a pair of scissors, cuts my pant leg off. And at the time I was wearing like those big baggy cook pants with, black and white stripes on it. Cuts my pant leg off, grabs some kitchen tape and some gauze, and tapes my leg closed. And he said, all right, get back out there. So I went back out. I finished the night, and then 2 weeks later, I called up Chef Thomas. I was like, "Yo, dude, I can't even walk." He's like, "You get in here, bullshit."
Oh no.
Bullshit. Bullshit. I was like, "Dude, I cannot walk. I can't walk." So the varicose veins got so bad that I couldn't put any pressure on it, and I eventually had, what's called vascular stripping, which is a whole other thing. I had that a few weeks later, and then I was out of Spago. My last day at Spago was the day before Valentine's Day, and that's why everybody was so pissed.
Oh my God, the worst day to not only to eat at a restaurant but to work at a restaurant.
The worst. And again, I was shame.
And eventually, there's no amount of shame, because the shame is what made you ignore this problem, because you were probably in pain for a long time, ignoring the signs of it, and then eventually you just collapse. Yeah. So then you recover, and now you find yourself at Rustic Kitchen. You're bringing that same kind of animalistic energy, but then what changed? It seems like there's another switch that flipped, or was it a gradual thing?
No.
Where you realize that this kind of tough love thing has its, maybe it's not effective.
In the same theme, I had a nervous breakdown at Rustic. Because after the surgery, I was, on my back in bed for about a month, and I knew that I had to get back in the kitchen, so I took a job at Le Cordon Bleu as a culinary instructor.
There you go.
I lasted about 12 weeks. I went into Rustic Canyon after I got back from Italy.
Okay, gotcha.
It was the sequence of it was working at Le Cordon Bleu, not finding any kind of avenue there to go do anything, but I, from that experience, I knew that I could teach. I knew enough about the mechanical sympathy of cooking. I could teach, and I taught garde manger, which was my strong suit.
Right, at Le Cordon Bleu.
At Le Cordon Bleu.
And so you left because you taught everything that they needed to know, and
I was fired for being too aggressive.
There you go.
So after that, I got a job.
You're just trying to give them a dose of the real world.
This is real world, people.
You're never gonna make it in this town.
Yeah, but I was learning about myself
Of
as
course.
well, and so after that, I got a job at Blue on Blue at the Avalon Hotel in Beverly Hills, and it was from there that job, that dead end job, drove me to Italy.
Mm.
And in Italy, everything that I understood about myself and about what I wanted to cook and who I wanted to be as a man was developed there. Those 3 months changed my entire life.
Right.
Changed my entire life, my entire outlook on life, who I wanted to be as a person, what I wanted to cook, how I wanted to cook, and how I wanted to lead. And Alessandra just welcomed me with such grace and openness after coming from this super crazy experience at Spago and then seeing this extraordinary outpouring of hospitality and love and openness and mindfulness and compassion and all of it. Like, I can do this. This is way more comfortable for me to do than to lead with fear and intimidation. But I hadn't figured out how to do it yet. So when I got back from Italy in '08 and took over Rustic Canyon, I had never run a kitchen myself before. I'd never done food costs myself before, inventory,
Right, because
or
even at
anything like
Spago,
that.
you were running the
I
floor,
was
but there was somebody else doing that.
I was like,
The big guys were in the
lower
office.
echelon,
Got it.
sous chef,
Gotcha.
a grunt, if you will.
Yeah, yeah.
And Josh Loeb at the time, he was running he was owning a struggling restaurant in a very bad economy, and I took over, and it was very difficult. I didn't know what I was doing, so I had to learn a lot of things on the fly, and he was learning as well as a new restaurant owner. And again, I threw my mind, body, and soul at it, and eventually had a nervous breakdown in like 2010. And it was just too much. And it was in that moment that I knew that I had to provide a pace, a consistent pace for how I was going to do this if I wanted any kind of longevity in this business.
Yeah.
I had to find some type of balance. The balance is fleeting in this business. If you want to be great, if you look at the greatest athletes in the world, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Wayne Gretzky, there is no balance. It is 100% go all of the time. The balance comes later. The balance comes much, much later. You can't, if you want to be great at something, you have to charge as hard as you possibly can. At least in my opinion. That's probably the most unhealthy advice to give to anybody. And do not do what I've done.
No, I hear
but
what you're saying.
I've found my balance. It's in balance.
What are we balancing?
People talk about work-life balance a lot. And the 4-day work week does not work in the restaurant business. Because if you're going to work 4 days a week, then who's cooking the other 3?
I'm laughing because Alice Waters was just here this morning, and she has 2 different shifts of chefs that they worked 4 days. They work 4 days a week, and then they replace each other. And the menu's different. It couldn't be more different, and also it is impossible to financially support that. But she makes it work because it's Chez Panisse and she's Alice Waters, and she does things that are truly impossible. The balance of longevity versus performance in the moment is something that I think the really great athletes have to figure it out. I don't know about the work-life balance thing, but I know that the balance of playing for today and playing for tomorrow, especially in tennis, you can see the difference in players who just completely burn out and disappear versus the Novaks and the Rafas and the Federer. It seems like Federer may be the one who is balanced in every way, because not only is he the ambassador for Rolex, he also has Barilla Pasta, plus he's won 20 Grand Slams. He's pretty good. How do we do that? We're all trying to figure that out.
Honestly, I'm still trying to figure it out.
We're trying to figure it out.
I'm trying to figure it out. It's life is a work in progress, and I think being mindful and trying to make long-term decisions is is a good way to go about it. I haven't figured it out yet. When I was first year at the catering kitchen, granted, like
Wolfgang Puck Catering.
Wolfgang Puck Catering and Events, it was at Hollywood and Highland, just down the road here. And I got hired as a temp cook, $10 an hour as a student. And this is a kitchen that's like 15,000 square feet. It is a massive, massive organism.
Factory.
And we were doing maybe, you know, the Latin Grammys or something like that. And it was 5 lines of, you know, of steam tables pumping out 1,800. I think it was London broil. Okay, sliced London broil. First cook is grabbing the plate, plopping down mashed potatoes, sliding it to the next one. Beef goes on, slide it, veg, slide, sauce, out, right? 1,800 meals in under 20 minutes. Bang, bang, bang. This one plate comes back and the server is visibly shaking because the guest wants well done. So this chef, who will go unnamed, grabs the plate, takes one look at Wolf, totally unspoken. Wolf just goes, he grabs a whole London broil and throws it in the fryer. And I'm like, you know, food is, you know, reverence and everything. Like I'm like literally 5 or 6 months into culinary school. So everything is just...
Right. You have this dream, like you have
dreams,
the idealistic,
like,
your eyes are bright and you're going to come and make the world a better place through cooking and touch people's lives.
So this guy just threw an entire London broil into the fryer and the chef walks off and I just continue to plop the mashed potatoes on and slide it to the next chef to do their job. And a few minutes later, the chef comes back, pair of tongs, grabs the full London broil out of the fryer and then opens up the broiler and shoves it in there and cranks it, jams it all the way to the top. And I'm like, what the is going on here? He walks off again. I'm like side-eyeing this London broil in the broiler and the thing catches fire. And I'm like, should I say something? It's on fire. I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, you just see how angry they are.
It's on fire. So the chef finally comes back, opens up the broiler, takes out pair of tongs, blows the flame off of it. It is completely carbonized. Slaps it down on the cutting board, slices 2 slices off it, hands it to the chef, puts it on a plate, and out it goes. Guest was super happy.
Oh, I thought you said the guest, an ambulance pulled up.
Perfect.
Incredible. So he knew what he was doing. This is how they do well done.
I mean, it was on the fly. I will never forget that happening.
Evan, you feel like a real success. I think that Wolf is very proud of you because you are...
He would never tell me that.
Of course not. That's why I'm here. You have the micro. You see the food the way you like it. And then you have the big picture. You're the teacher. You empower people to do well and to succeed.
I try.
You give them the space to fail. And that's why you are able to continue to open restaurants without it collapsing on itself, which is what's happening, right? How are we doing?
We're
doing
well.
good. Everybody that goes to a funky restaurant has only said that the greatest things. And even Felix, people are going to still and are loving it. And that kind of longevity is something that Wolf has said for his own restaurants is his greatest accomplishment. And so he's able to adjust and stuff with the times. Yeah. And I think that you are the right chef for this moment. And
thank you for that.
Yeah, and you're good on TV. You got good talking. Why did you want to become a chef again?
Honestly, like I needed something to fill a lot of different criteria. I wanted something that was team-oriented. I wanted something difficult and physical. I wanted something creative. I wanted something that I could use my hands. I wanted to figure things out. And the kitchen solved a lot of those criteria.
Yeah.
It also made me feel at home because, I suffer from anxiety like most people do, and the kitchen is a place where that's not really an element. It was when I was fearful of displeasing or disappointing, for sure, but that was a powerful propellant.
Yes.
fear and anxiety is a powerful propellant when you need it to be.
Yeah.
And I've never really lost sight of that. I think cooking is secondary to why I love this business so much. I think it's the people within that make it special. And I think this business is populated by sensitive individuals, no matter how much braggadocio or machismo or ego sometimes gets into it. Good professionals operate in an emotional state.
Yes.
That's what makes them good.
Totally.
But when you're operating in an emotional state, when you receive feedback in that state, it can feel like an attack.
Oh,
and that's where it has to be. You have to navigate that very, very, very mindfully.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really see myself doing anything other than this besides, making film and TV and stuff, because, I grew up in the business, and my dad made really cool shit.
Yeah.
And I'm very comfortable behind the camera, and I understand rudimentarily, at least the mechanical sympathy of lighting and feel and the artistry and how I would like things to look on camera or in still or whatever it is. And I find myself to feel very natural.
Yeah.
I get a little bit of anxiety before I go on camera.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a live show on whatever, the Today Show, it's like, okay, 45 seconds of pure holy shit.
Yeah, holy shit, and making sure you get the message across.
Yeah.
And don't
but then I just lose myself in it, and hopefully the message comes across.
So Eminem, it's so 8 Mile. You're like in the back, mom, and also because you do pasta, so it's like, mom, spaghetti, I'm nervous. Da, da, da.
You've got a future in this podcast thing, dude.
You think so?
I think so.
We don't know.
I think so.
It's yet to be determined.
It's a crapshoot.
It is a crapshoot.
And you have that whole
needs to
AI
be,
thing.
dog. What about the AI thing? You mean
It's
just technology?
Yeah, just the whole thing. You could just make me look like I have a full head of hair whenever you want.
You want me to give you what do you want?
No. I've had the same haircut since 5th grade.
Bald?
Yeah, I started shaving my head when I was like 10.
Wow.
I just didn't have time for hair. I grew my hair out for like a year.
But what about face hair? You shave that.
I grew that as soon as I possibly could because my face is short.
So when you hit
chin.
puberty at 7, then you just started growing that. Wait. Okay. So you're kidding? You shaved your head when? You're 5?
Yeah, no.
10 years old.
10 years old.
Okay. For why?
I didn't want to have hair. I found it to be an annoyance.
What's the real reason?
It's an annoyance. I don't want to go to the barber and cut hair.
What happened? Really?
No, I swear to God, I just
You guys know about this 5?
didn't have time.
Nobody's
I
heard this.
just didn't have time. And then, when I actually started going bald, I was like, sweet, I don't have to change anything.
When you shaved, you mean like buzz cut or like
like a zero. Like a zero.
Like a zero, so you
zero
have like
buzz.
but it's like
it was a little
still,
bit of hair.
You see a little fuzz on there.
Yeah, but
okay.
And then I, shave my head every 48 hours.
And it's not a gum thing. There's no bullying. Is there no trauma?
No. I didn't really get bullied. I was a fat kid, but like my last name was so cool, nobody really
Funky.
Nobody with me.
How does Wolfgang pronounce your name?
If Wolf couldn't find Lee, he would say, "Where's your father?" Or
Who say to you?
"Where is the general?" Or he would come in and literally say, "What's to eat? I'm hungry," and then would hand me a bag to go shopping and grab smoked salmon and shit for the house. Here's a funny Wolfgang story. So Wolfgang, we did a food and wine event, and we were doing rotisserie suckling pig. But this is like a whole hog, like on a spit. And I got invited because I was like in the in crowd. It was me and Lee and a bunch of other people. And 3/4 of the way through the event, everything's kind of like, calming down. And, all the other cooks kind of take off to go, take a look at the other chefs and whatnot. Wolf's getting followed around with like a, camera crew and all that. Everybody leaves me. So I'm literally there by myself, guarding this pig that's going round and round and round and round. So I'm there by myself. Wolf comes back with the camera crew, and he wants to make a show. So he like grabs the knife. He's like cutting off the skin and eating it and wiping himself on my shirt and whatnot. And I say, careful, chef, it's hot. And he looks at me, he goes, Funky, you get any fatter, we're going to put you on the spit next year.
On camera.
Real story.
Wow.
Best.
Let's get the clip.
Best.
Wolfgang is a comedian at heart, I think.
I have nothing but love for that man. He is just, he's the celebrity chef. He created the genre in a lot of different ways, but he is an extraordinary cook. He has one of the most refined and sensitive palates that I have ever experienced. He is an exceptional cook, technician, like incredible. He's also a showman. He's also a diplomat. He understands how to play the game. And I think that's why so many celebrities and the very top tier of the world come to his restaurants, because he understood something. And this is what, one of the biggest lessons that I learned there was you have to provide a sanctuary for those people. And that's what we do so well. We provide a sanctuary within the restaurants where they can feel normal within their understanding of what normal is. What Wolf understood was not necessarily catering to the needs of these people, of celebrities, but providing a place where they could feel safe and feel normal.
Yeah, totally. Whatever their version of normal is, which is to get whatever they want, whenever they want it, and nobody to ever say no to them. And also, they won't be accosted by people so much.
Correct.
How do you seat people in your restaurant so they won't get fanboyed?
Very carefully. Very carefully. That's a whole art form in itself.
Yeah.
Is plotting the floor.
Who are the most famous people that eat at your restaurants, and when do they usually arrive?
I will never tell. All you got to do is go on TMZ and go back 5 years or so.
Go back to TMZ, and then you can find their exact patterns of frequency.
I've been fortunate enough to cook for some of the most interesting and exceptional people in this entire world. And all I can say is I've never encountered anyone who hasn't been absolutely lovely to deal with. Regardless of the difficulties of navigating their handlers and the scheduling and getting them into the restaurant, all the logistical stuff, regardless of that, everyone that I've ever cooked for has been absolutely lovely. Just the nicest, sweetest people. No one's ever been an asshole. And I think people just really get a bad rap in the press.
Yeah. Okay, without naming names, most intense celebrity crash out at the restaurant.
Crash out?
A crash out is when you're like, let's say you're playing a basketball game or something, and you're doing anything, and you're just like lose your shit and you crash out of the situation, and you're either remove yourself or are removed from the situation.
Is this like where I was like starstruck by somebody?
No, this is when somebody like
causes
they're not getting recognized, they're not getting what they want. And it doesn't have to be at your restaurant, and you don't have to name a name, but what is like the scariest situation where a very important, it doesn't have to be like a very famous person, but like somebody, usually it's the rich people, the very rich people, they're not getting what they want and they're having a shit show. And how do you deal with that?
Oh God.
You know what I'm talking about?
We've had multiples of that.
Of course you have.
The same thing has happened a couple of different times where guests who think they are bigger than their britches say really derogatory and sometimes racist thing to my staff, and you have to fire them. Sometimes you have to
fire the clients.
You have to fire clients. You have to blacklist them.
And they think that that you're their homie, and they
typically
they feel like they own the restaurant. Like, oh, this is my spot.
Typically it starts with, I know Evan. And my staff knows that if you say, I know Evan, that they know me not. Because I've never gone by Evan.
Yeah, it's Ewan.
My parents call me chef.
I
So
say chef.
when people call me Evan,
I know Evan. So then that's DEFCON 1.
that's
Now
like
we're on
that's
guard
like
here.
red flag. So they say I know Evan, or I know the owner, or whatever it is, and it starts there, and then
Okay.
it
Then what happened? Let's go step by step.
progressively goes downhill from there because they're not used to hearing no. It's not in their vocabulary.
So what's a no? What would we say no to?
They don't get the table that they want, or they are an hour late for a reservation and they can't understand why they can't have their table, or any number of things.
And then they go, I know
Evan.
I know Evan.
I know Evan. Yeah.
And then your team is like trying so hard, be like, oh, we're killing them with kindness and politeness.
100% of the time lead with hospitality, even when faced with hostility. That's good. Lead with hospitality when faced with hostility. And I want to say something really quick about the teammates that work in front of the house. Back of the house, cooks, chefs, dishwashers, that is a very intense physical job, 100%. But the mental equanimity you need to work in front of the house with guests is far more difficult. And I don't think a lot of people talk about how difficult it is, because if you're at a table and all that table wants out of the experience is to be an asshole to you, you have to go to the next table and act like nothing has happened.
That's right.
That is a very difficult thing to do time and time and time again for 5 hours straight. Those are few and far between, but you have to be so good at swallowing what you just went through that is difficult and demeaning and whatnot, and then go to the next table and think, good evening, how are you?
Yes.
Has someone come by and gotten your water?
Yeah, exactly.
It's really, really difficult,
Yeah.
especially now. I think right now, 2025 is the most difficult time to be of service to people. Because the expectation for excellence, regardless if it's Chipotle or my restaurant or 11 Madison Park, the expectation from those businesses is sky high.
Them just knowing that you will ultimately have their back probably means a lot.
Do not my staff.
Yes, that's very important. Chef is quiet and calm and demure because he knows that the raising the voice, that's a tool. You have to use it. And if you're yelling all the time, then it means nothing.
This is a very good point. Because yelling, I haven't yelled in many, many, many years, like many years. I can't remember the last time I yelled. And
that checks out.
If I yell, it's a sign that I'm under stress and I'm, I don't have the tools or the skill set to look at the situation that I'm frustrated with. And for me, the yelling is a sign of immaturity.
Right.
It's a sign that I don't have the right tool in my toolbox to deal with the situation, and that's why I'm yelling.
Yeah.
When you yell at a cook or you yell at anybody, it takes them out of their mindset, which is trying their hardest to do the best job that they possibly can. Yeah. And they made a mistake.
It's not strategic to yell, and that's the thing.
It's so bad. And it makes you feel like shit.
Yes.
I would yell. I'm not going to say I didn't yell. And there's plenty of cooks that I've just absolutely just not been nice to. But I learned very, very early to go back around and say, hey, dude, I'm sorry I lost my shit. I'm so sorry. I was frustrated. And I don't ever want to do that again.
Yeah.
So next time, let's do this together. If you have a question, whatever the situation was, I was always very, very adamant about going back, no matter how uncomfortable it was for me to do it.
Yeah.
I would always go back around and say, yo, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because again, like I've been on the receiving end of that and not had that, workaround happen. And I went home and I held a grudge.
Yeah.
And
well, and then the pain becomes part of your...
and builds, and then you have someone who's disgruntled, and they're just there because they're operating out of fear and shame.
Yeah,
it sucks.
Yeah,
cooking a lot of the time is very hard. It's difficult. It sucks sometimes. The repetition, the heat, all of that stuff, sometimes it can suck. But playing football professionally sometimes sucks too. Doing a lot of things that we kind of like, sometimes it sucks. But that's part of it. And I think where people find fulfillment is when it sucks and you push through it and you learn from it. That's when it becomes fulfilling versus being fun.
Yeah. You know what never sucks? Filmmaking is always
that is
perfect.
The absolute
It's always
biggest
perfectly validating.
bullshit
And
line.
everything that you do is rewarded. And every ounce,
Sure.
everything you try to do always succeeds the first try.
Sure.
The thing I'll say about filmmaking, I think there are a lot of parallels to cooking, because the director is like the chef, the communication is more than half of it. Like I think there are a lot of really, really talented directors who have churned out of the business because they didn't have the communication or the leadership side of it to keep people on your side while you're making the thing together.
Communication is everything.
And, we're so lucky. Like for me, look, I don't want to talk about like calling a team, but it's like, I think that if you are yelling, there's no point. Harshness does literally nothing is the point. It's not strategic, and it doesn't give you an outcome that you want, because it's not going to make the person work better, and it's going to make people resent you. And it's also, what's the point? Like if you want to continue working with this person, you have to show mutual respect and be there to help them. And then if they really just can't do it, then you just, help transition them into somebody else's production. Yeah. The thing is that the ingredients that I'm seeing, and I think the comparison in chefs, in directors, in the heads of any kind of organization is, yes, like the talent and the vision, absolutely important. But without the commitment and presence of hard work and the communication, you got to have all three of those if you want to be successful. And I see that, kind of in your storytelling, you're kind of learning to grab those things. The talent is always there. And then it's like, how do we support that? And how do we build a coalition around that?
Talent, for me, is defined by an intense desire to be good at something.
Right.
And you can have an intense desire to be a good leader. It's not something that's like God-given. Like I don't hire for skill set. I hire for caliber and character and people. I can teach anybody how to cook. I can't teach them how to be good people. If they're a good person, then I can teach you how to be a leader. I can teach you how to make cacio e pepe. I can teach you all of the mechanical shit. I can't teach you how to be a good person. You can learn how to communicate. You can learn how to cook. But you have to have that basis of good character and willingness to learn. And you can learn patience. You can learn anything as long as you have the willingness to do so. There's something that's not understood about true mastery of something.
Yeah.
It's not just knowing how to do it. It's knowing how to troubleshoot it.
Right.
You don't really know something intimately until you it up a few times and you put it back together.
Yeah.
That's true mastery. But in that, mastery is 100% being a perpetual student of something.
If you believe, like somebody says, "Oh, I've mastered that," then you know that it's
you
bullshit.
have not mastered anything.
Yeah.
People call me a master pasta maker. I am not. 100% no. I'm a student of this.
Right.
I'm a student of pasta making because I haven't mastered everything. Like I won't master it. It's impossible.
Well, right. That's the whole thing. The perfection is not a thing.
You can be an expert.
You can be an expert, and you can be high enough on the mountain you're climbing that you can certainly throw a rope down, and you can certainly teach on the way up. But I think that's the whole thing, is the closer you get to your taste level, of excellence or whatever, then you realize how now you have the eye to discern how far the road goes,
Even Jiro.
No, that's the whole thing
Jiro.
for him. And
Jiro's 100 years old or whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah.
That guy's still a student of what he does.
That's exactly right.
And he's going to be a student the day he takes his last breath.
Yes.
That's true mastery right there. And I think that
because he's mastered the pursuit in a way. he's mastered the discipline to pursue
You nailed it on the head.
the journey
You
itself.
nailed it on the head. And too many people are ready to take on the next task before a deep understanding of what is in front of them. Because just like me, when I was going for the sous chef role, I was not ready. 0% ready. I was not ready.
Right.
I should have stayed a cook for much longer.
Well, yeah, because you wanted to be a sous chef.
But my impatience and my ambition overrode the reality. I was promoted to the limits of my incompetence. And because I was just impatient. So
Right.
Patience is a practice, and it's something that I'm really good at patience.
Yeah, that's good.
Sometimes too patient, but patience is a practice.
Wanting to be something is not necessarily the reason that you're doing it. It's like you want to make pasta because you love it, or do you want to make pasta because you want to be a master? You know what I'm saying? I think that's there's a real distinction there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to be a 3-star Michelin chef, and there's a story about Bernard Loiseau, right, where his entire identity.
I've read the book.
This is the book, the book, The Perfectionist.
Sad. Oh my God.
It's a true tragedy that is the most extreme version of what can go wrong.
I've read that book 12 times. No bullshit.
Really?
Yeah. I read it on airplanes.
Why? What does it do for you? And just for the story, Bernard Loiseau was the most famous French chef on TV, perfect family, perfect 3-star Michelin restaurant. On the tier, the Rushmore, approaching the Rushmore of French chefs with Paul Bocuse, who was his kind of mentor and good friend. One day, he just kills himself in an absolutely brutal and shocking.
Shot himself in the face with a shotgun.
Yes. Stunning the world. And the mystery being what happened? Why did that happen? And that's what the book is about. It's kind of it's a bit of a mystery about why he did it. And it has so much to do with the pressure of yourself and making your entire identity your success and the measures of that success, in this case being the 3 Michelin stars and the fear of losing them. And then, of course, mental illness and hiding, hiding intimacy from the people around you and just trying to be what everybody else needs you to be all the time. Those pressures are incredible. And so you read it as a warning maybe, or what is it for you?
I think for numerous reasons. I as a young cook, I was really enamored with the brothers Troggro and Paul Bocuse and that era of Nouvelle Cuisine.
And this is for listeners. The Nouvelle Cuisine was a big breakthrough in cooking, where ingredients and seasons and simple, pure cooking strokes replace the kind of archaic, heavy sauces and heavy technique.
Correct.
Of French cuisine.
Correct. And so that historical value of what I do today is kind of built off of the love of that time. That was the first 7 years of my cooking career was French technique. And a lot of the sauces that I make have a lot of, there's a lot of it in there. But I do see, it's a very sad story, but it's also a triumphant story, because he was able to achieve so much in such a short time. His ambition, it's definitely a warning for me, because I find myself reading it when I'm feeling a certain way, when I'm on a plane going to visit another restaurant or looking at another deal, in some city, and it's, the projected is $20 million and you got to do XYZ to make it happen. It puts me in a mindset to take a step back and look at why I'm doing something.
That's there it is. Yeah.
But it's an exceptional book. And if you haven't read it and you're a chef or a cook,
Yeah.
read it.
It is a required reading. It's by Rudolf Chelminsky. It's in reading it, you get a really nice primer on the history of French cuisine. And it's a story about someone who was not considered to be talented in the traditional sense.
He wasn't the best chef,
and he was not the best chef.
He was a showman.
but he was a showman and he knew how to connect with people.
Yeah.
And he built an organization that was dedicated to excellence and this idea.
In the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere, where even the road traffic that would normally supply and living up to the standard of a previous 3-star restaurant that was there. And he lost the thread of the why. And even though this beautiful life was right in front of him, with wonderful children and his wife, like everything was right there, and he couldn't see it because he could only see what he could lose.
Yeah.
And it's a very important
see what
lesson.
he didn't have.
He could only see what he didn't have.
And he was so afraid of losing the 3 stars.
Yeah.
So very, very, very good book.
Yeah. So when you're feeling some kind of way, it's like a good reminder.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, 12 times.
Yeah.
Have you done therapy?
Isn't this therapy? Are you going to send me a
here-
bill
here-
after this?
Here's a meme. The things men do to avoid going to therapy.
No, I on it like perfectly candid. Like I did like 5 years straight of like therapy from 13 to 15 or something like that. Yeah. No, that's only a couple of years.
2013 to 20.
No. This is
When you were
early
age
on.
13.
Yeah, 13. It's like 3 years maybe, 13 to 16.
But not recently.
No.
Okay.
No. I exercise my mind quite often.
Yeah.
You know, I meditate a lot.
Okay, that's something.
Yeah.
A video you watch, or like how do you do the meditation?
Not really. When I was
How do you not yell for years?
when I was a massage therapist, I connected with my inner being, if I can say that, you know, like I gained spirituality through that, and like manifestation and vision boards and all of those things. I believe heavily in that.
How do you feel right now?
I feel fantastic.
That's
right
great.
now,
I feel good too.
Even though my restaurant just caught on fire.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was wondering because I was like, oh, is he good? And it's like, yeah, he's smiling more than actually even more now. The restaurant caught on fire.
Yeah, it's just, you know.
And you didn't even yell fire.
No, I didn't. I said, please, everybody, let's
Please, everyone,
evacuate.
please orderly.
Please, everybody,
Please, everyone, please
evacuate,
leave the building.
No, the entire
Just in the
team.
kitchen? What happened? Is there
No,
damage?
there's significant damage, but it was all in the upper part of the exhaust system, and it just combusted, and there was a ton of smoke, and with smoke causes smoke damage and water damage.
Oh
and
man.
BH, fire department absolutely crushed it. Came in, put it out, and But whenever there's a fire, it disrupts things, and my main concern is everybody. Now that everybody's safe, my main concern is my staff and making sure that the weeks ahead they're taken care of and they're all good, because we've put a significant amount of work into developing this team that is so just the chemistry in this team is something like I've never seen before.
Yes.
It's just so special.
Yeah. And if anybody goes to Funke, the place has an incredible vibe, incredible team members, wonderful like energy, and the food. It's like how many covers per night do you do there? And that everybody is like getting top of the quality is still excellent.
Like on like a Saturday, we'll put like 550 through the door, including the roof. I mean, it's 3 floors. It's a massive restaurant.
Incredible.
But it gets busy. That's not everybody eating, of course. There's some people just going to visit the bar and have a cocktail on the roof and a couple of bites. But we put a few hundred through the door every night.
So you have that institution, and then what's happening at Mother Wolf?
Mother Wolf is doing what Mother Wolf does.
How many people?
It's 350, 400.
And then what about, and you have Mother Wolf in Vegas?
In Vegas, probably Saturday night we'll do about 600.
And what's Miami doing?
Miami bangs, Vegas just bangs, but Chicago Saturday night they'll do 850, 875.
The Italians are in Chicago. They like
incredible.
And also it's a very competitive environment for Italian food there.
Yeah, but Italian food, American Italian food, there is a plethora of really great hole in the walls, like, great long-standing Italian American restaurants. Fantastic. That's a genre.
So again, in a film, we're making a film, right? We make the thing.
Okay.
and then it's done, and it exists in a format that can be is recorded and held and then put on the things and whatever, and then it's over. When it comes to a restaurant, you have to not only build the team, you're telling the story of that place and making it all good, and then it has to go forever or as long as you can.
Yeah.
That's really hard.
The restaurant business is very difficult. Like, no bullshit. It is one of the most difficult things to do. It's very difficult to make money. It's difficult to keep the money once you make the money, because restaurants cost a lot of money to run. And a lot of the times a busy restaurant does not necessarily indicate as successful.
Right. So a busy restaurant can still be losing money.
It's all about the capture. You
Right.
can have a wonderfully healthy
Capture.
top line capture. So you can have a wonderfully healthy top line, but your bottom line is in the negative because you're spending too much. You're spending too much. And there's 1,001 ways that you can bleed out in a restaurant. Everything from the type of C-fold paper towel you buy to the type of foie gras you buy, and everything in between: labor, insurance, workers' comp, grease trap, trash removal, permit, licensing, the whole, it's a laundry list of things that, if not studied in detail consistently every single day, looking for ways to provide efficiencies, you're going to lose your ass. You have to watch every single penny. Just like football is a game of inches, you can score by an inch or lose by an inch. Restaurant business is a game of pennies. 100% it is. And it has a compounding effect if you're not watching.
Yeah.
So having great leaders in the restaurants is one of the most important things in developing those, and identifying quality people that can become leaders is something that I'm actively trying to get better at.
And also preventing them from getting poached. Is that a thing?
That's gonna happen regardless. But everyone has a choice of what team they want to play on.
Right. So you make a nice team and a good culture, then why not?
Yeah.
So for those kids who are like, oh, I want to be a chef, let's get rich, quick, and famous, and get to cook good food.
If you want to get rich in the restaurant business, start with a fortune.
Start out rich. That makes sense. Now, but seriously though, for a little kid comes up to you and
Which
is
they
like,
frequently do.
I want to be a chef. What do you tell them?
I tell them, you can do whatever you want. Go to business school first.
Okay.
I tell that to every single child that comes up to me. I say, what do you want to do? I want to be a chef. They go, that's cool. Go to business school first.
And the parents are like, thank you so much.
I've had multiple parents look at me like, what the fuck?
What the are you telling my kid to can't be a
But
chef?
most of them are like, yo, see what he said? See, they're telling them the same thing. But
Yeah.
I grew up, my parents never taught me how to be financially responsible. They just didn't. I bankrupted a $3.5 million restaurant, I had to learn how to become a businessman by surrounding myself with people that are good at business.
Yeah.
And had to learn it through osmosis.
Right. So that's the lesson you would give them, is build that if you're going to go to school, build that foundation.
Build the foundation with at least an understanding about how to keep your money once you make it. And if you're an artist or a musician or a chef, or you drive a trash truck, go to business school first so that you understand how to keep the money once you make it.
Yeah.
I know that I'm breathing rarefied air, okay? Getting to my level, it's not lost on me. I worked my ass off to get here, and I continue to work my ass off to stay. The work I did to get to the top is not the same amount of work that I'm going to do to stay there.
That's where the real lesson of Wolfgang kind of comes in there, is how do you keep it going?
Nobu, Ducasse,
and you have people that work for them for decades and decades and decades.
These are the people that I study. Yeah. Not necessarily because they're great chefs, but because they have that longevity. They've been able to survive and thrive and build communities and successful businesses in one of the most demanding and challenging businesses that exist on the planet. Yeah. And studying those people and how they make moves and the deals that they make and who their lawyers are and who their real estate agents, that kind of stuff is what interests me now about this business.
Yeah, because you love being the entrepreneurial the restaurateur
It's
part
scary.
of it.
It's scary as shit.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
But in the end, I'm going to make pizza and pasta regardless. And I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And I'm going to build a team to the best of my ability, because one of the most rewarding things to me is taking a group of people with varying skill sets from different backgrounds and building them into a cohesive movement, a cohesive unit that moves and communicates effectively. That is one of the most beautiful things to see in life. It's the juice for me. And then, you get to make pasta by hand, and that's also... You were going to ask me there was a meal that changed my life.
Oh, yeah, sorry. What's
this
the meal?
Isn't the whole goddamn premise to this
What's
thing?
What's the meal that changed your life?
I had so many. The meal that changed my life was not one that I ate, is that one that I cooked. Because not a lot of people believe in love at first sight, but I believe in wholeheartedly. When my current wife, Grace Kim Funke, walked into Bukato on her way to the bathroom, I was stopped in my tracks. Like, who? Like whiplash for real. And when she sat down, the meal that I cooked, I'm talking full avalanche on her table, full avalanche, everything on the menu, the meal that I cooked, the food that I cooked in that moment changed my entire life. Like, real talk.
Wow. What'd you cook? How do I make my wife love me via food?
Pappardelle wins, dude.
Pappardelle.
Pappardelle wins. Pappardelle with the duck ragu.
Got it. Okay, and meaning of life.
Meaning of life? That's way too hard. How dare you? The meaning of life? I won't give you the meaning of life, but I will tell you how I want to express my last breath. I want to say, I'm so tired. I'm glad I left everything on the field. I want to do as much as I possibly can while I am breathing. That when I literally lay down to take my last breath, you'd be like, dude, it feels so good to lie down. I'm all done.
You left it all on the table.
I left it all on the field. I have nothing left. I want to give it all. I want to make it all and give it all away. Maybe that's the meaning. I have no idea what the meaning is. I'm still trying to figure this shit out.
Okay, good. It's a good answer. Because the ones who say that they know it, they're usually trying to sell courses or something on TikTok. And then we'll see you again tomorrow, same time?
Sure.
Okay.